संसार हरिणे भक्तकाये कदेहाय नमस्ते चित्सदात्मने ॐ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नमो गुरुभ्यो गुरुपादुकाभ्यो नमः परेभ्यः परपादुकाभ्यः आचार्य सिद्धेश वरपादुकाभ्यो नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्यः ऐङ्कार ह्रीङ्कार रहस्ययुक्ता श्रीङ्कार गुरा तमाविभूत्या ओङ्कार महर्म प्रतिपारिणेभ्यां नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्याम् होत्राग्निहोत्रादिअभिषोतु कामारि सर्पा व्रजगारुदाभ्यां विवेकवैराग्यनिधि प्रदाभ्यां घोराप्रदाभ्यां धृतमोक्षदाभ्यां नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्याम् अनन्तसंसारसमुद्रतारा नौकायिताभ्यां स्थिरभक्तिदाभ्यां जाड्याब्धिसंशो शनवारवाभ्यां नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्याम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ अस्य श्रीगुरुगीतास्तोत्रमन्त्रस्य भगवान् सदा शिवऋषि नानाविधानि छन्दांसि श्रीगुरु परमात्मा देवता हम बीजं सशक्तिक्रम किलकं श्रीगुरु प्रसार सिद्ध्यर्थे जपे विनियोगा आता ध्यानम् हंसव्यं परिवृत्तपात्रकमले दिव्यैर्जगत्कारणे विश्वोकीर्णमनेकदे अनिलये स्वच्छन्दमाद्मेच्छया तद्योतं परशं भवं च चरणं दीपाङ्कुरग्राहिणां प्रत्यक्षाक्षरविग्रहं गुरुपरं ध्यायेद्विभुं शाश्वतं सुत उवाच कैलासशिखरे रम्ये भक्तिसन्धाननायकं प्रणम्य पार्वती भक्त्या शङ्करं प्रायपृच्छति श्रीदेवी उवाच ॐ नमो देवदेवेश परपरजगद्गुरो सदाशिव महादेव गुरुदीक्षं प्रदेहि मे तेन मार्गेण भो स्वामी देहि ब्रह्म गुरु मे स्वामी नमामि चरणौ तव ईश्वरा उवाच मम रूपासि देवी त्वं त्वत्प्रीत्यर्थं वरम्यहं लोकोपकारका प्रश्नो न केनापि कृता पुरा दुर्लभं तृष्णलोकेषु तत्तुरुष्वावधम्यहं गुरुविना ब्रह्मणान्यात् सत्यं सत्यं वरानने वेदशास्त्रपुराणानि इतिहासादिकानि च मन्त्रयन्त्रादिविद्याश्च स्मृतिरुचातनारिकाम् शैवशाक्तागमादीनि अन्यानि विविधानि च अपभ्रंशकराणि जीवनं ग्रन्थते च साम् यज्ञो व्रतं तपोदानं जपस्तीर्थं च चैव च गुरुतपमविज्ञाय गुरस्ते चरते जना गुरुबुद्ध्या मनोनन्यात् सत्यं सत्यं न संशयः तल्लपर्तं प्रयाणास्तु कर्तव्यो हि मनीषिभिः गुरविद्या जगन्माया देह ज्ञानसम्भवा शेना गुरुशब्देन कथ्यते सर्वपापविशुद्धात्मा श्रीगुरुपारसेवनात् देहि ब्रह्म भवेद्यस्मात् स्वकृपार्थं वदामि ते गुरुपरम्बुजं स्मृत्वा जलं शिरसि धारये सर्वतीर्थभगास्य सम्प्राप्नोति फलं नरः शोषणं पापपङ्कस्य दीपनं ज्ञानतेजसां गुरुपरोरकं सम्यक् संसारानवतारकम् अज्ञानमूलारणं जन्मकर्मनिवारणं ज्ञानवैराग्यसिद्ध्यर्थं गुरुपरोरकं विवे गुरुपरोरकं विद्वा गुरुरुचिष्टभोजनं गुरुमूर्ते सरार्याणां गुरुमन्त्रं सराजपे काशीश्रेष्ठं च निवासो जानवीचरणोरकं गुरुविश्वेश्वरा साक्षात् तारकं ब्रह्मनिश्चितं गुरुपरोरकं यातु गायसोक्षयोवचः तीर्थराज प्रयागश्च गुरुमूर्ते नमो नमः गुरुमूर्तिं स्मरे नित्यं गुरुनामासराजपे गुरुराञ्जं प्रकुर्वीता भावये गुरुवाक्त्रसितं ब्रह्म प्राप्यते तत्प्रसादतः गुरुज्ञानं सदा कुर्यात् कुलस्मै स्वापतिर्यता स्वश्रमं च स्वजन्तीं च स्वकीर्तिपुष्टिवर्धनम् एतत् सर्वं परित्याज्य गुरुरन्यान् भावये अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां सुलभं परमं परं तस्मात् सर्वप्रयत्नेन गुरुराराधनं कुरु त्रैलोक्येस्फुकवक्तारो देवाद्यसुरपन्नगा गुरुवक्त्रसिता विद्या गुरुभक्त्या च लभ्यते उक्करस्त्वन्धकारश्च ऋक्करस्तेज उच्यते अज्ञानग्रसकं ब्रह्म गुरुरेव न संशयः दुःखरप्रथमो वर्णो मायादिगुणभासकः Ruktaro dvitiyo brahma maya vranti vinashanam Devam guru param shrishtam devanamapi durlabham Ganeshcheva Gandharveshcha prapujyate Dhruvam tesham cha sarvesham Nasi tadvam guru param Asanam shayanam vastram Bhushanam vahanarikam Sadhakena pradatavyam Guru santoshakarakam Guru raradhanam karyam Svajivitvam nivedaye Dharmanam manasa vacha Nityam aradhaye gurum Dirghadandam namaskurtya Nirlajo guru saniram Shariram indriyam pranan Sadgurubhyo nivedaye Atmadararikam sarvam Sadgurubhyo nivedaye Tumikita bhasmavista Durgani malamutrakam Shleshwarakam tvachamamsam Panchayena varanane Samsara vrukshamarudah Pantanto narakarnave Yena cheva dhruta sarve Tasme shri gurave namah Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Reva Para Brahma Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Etave Jagatameva Samsara Navasetave Prabhave Sarva Viryana Sambhave Gurave Namah Nirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Tvam Pita Tvam Chame Mata Tvam Bandhustvam Charevata Samsara Pratibhorartham Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Yat Satyena Jagat Satyam Yat Prakashena Bhaktitat Yaranandena Nandanti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Asya Sitya Satyamidam Yabati Banarupata Priyam Putraliya Pritya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Yena Chetayate Idam Chitam Chetayate Nayam Jagratvagna Shushupyari Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Yasatyanaridam Vishwam Sarekaruparupaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Yasya matam tasya matam Matam yasya navedasaha Ananya bhava bhavaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Yasya karana rupasya Karya rupena bhaktiya Karya karana rupaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nana rupa miram sarvam Nakena pyasti binatam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Yarangri Kamala Dvamvam Dvanvata Panivarakam Tarakam Sarvarapabhya Shri Gurum Pranamamyam Shive Krude Guru Shrata Guru Krude Shivo Nahi Tasmat Sarva Prayadena Shri Gurum Sharanam Raje Vande Guru Paradvamvam Vammanashchita Gocharam श्वेतरक्त प्रभाविनां शिवशक्त्यमकं परम् तुक्करं च गुणातीतं गुणातीतस्वरूपं च यो दद्यात् स गुरुस्मृताम् अत्रिनेत्र सर्वसाक्षी आचतुर्बाहुरच्युता आचतुर्वनरो ब्रह्मा श्रीगुरुकथितप्रिये अयमयञ्जलिर्बाधो दायसगारवृद्धये यदनुग्रतो जन्तुश्चित्रसंसारमुक्तिभाक् श्रीगुरो परमं रूपं विवेकचक्षुषोमृतं मन्दभाग्यान् पश्यन्ति अन्धसूर्योदयं यथा श्रीनाथचरणद्वन्द्वं यस्यां दिशि विराजते तस्यै दिशे नमस्कुर्यात् भक्त्या प्रतिदिनं प्रिये तस्यै दिशे सततमञ्चलरेश आर्ये प्रक्षिप्यते मुखरितो मरुपेर्बुधश्च जर्घर्ति अत्र भगवान् गुरुचक्रवर्ती विश्वोदय प्रलयनाथक नित्यसाक्षी श्रीनाथारिगुरुत्रयं गणपतिं पितात्रयं भैरवं सिद्धोगं बतुकात्रयं परयुगं दूतीक्रमं मण्डलम् द्राष्टतशुष्टशास्त्रिनवकं वीरावली पञ्चकं श्रीमामालिनी मन्त्रराजसहितं वन्दे गुरुर्मण्डलम् आव्यस्ते सकले सुदीर्घमणिले व्याधिप्रदे दुष्करे प्राणायामशतेरने ककरणे योगात्मके दुर्जये यास्मिन्नाभ्युदिते विनश्यति बले वायुस्वयं तत्क्षणात् प्राप्तुं तत्सहजं स्वभावमनिशां सेवात्ममेकं गुरुं स्वदेशिकसेव शरीरचिन्तनं भवेदनता शिवस्य स्वदेशिकसेवचनामकीर्तनं भवेदनता शिवस्य कीर्तनम् यत्पररेणुकणिका कापि संसारवारिधे सेतुबन्धायते नाथं देशिकं त्वामुपास्महे
यस्मादनुग्रहं लब्ध्वा
मारध्यानमुत्सुजे तस्मै श्रीदेशिकेन्द्राय नमश्चाभीष्टसिद्धये पारब्जं सर्वसंसार दावनलविनाशकं ब्रह्मरन्ध्रे स्थितं भुजा मध्यस्थं चन्द्रमण्डले
अकथादितिरेकाब्जे सहस्रदलमण्डले हंसपार्श्वत्रिकोणे च स्मरेतन्मध्यगं गुरुं सकलभुवनसृष्टि कल्पिता शेषपुष्टिर् निखिलनिगमदृष्टि सम्पदां व्यर्थदृष्टि अवगुणपरिमाष्टिस्तत्पदार्थैकदृष्टिर् भवगुणपरमेष्टि मोक्षमार्गैकदृष्टि सकलभुवनरङ्गस्थापना संभयष्टि सकरुणसर्वृष्टिस्तत्त्वमाला समष्टि सकलसमयसृष्टि सच्चिदानन्ददृष्टि निवसतु मयि नित्यं श्रीगुरुर्दिव्यदृष्टिः अग्निशुद्धं समन्तातु ज्वालापरीक्षकाधिया मन्त्रराजमिमं मन्ये अहर्निशं वातमृत्युता तद्दैजति तन्नैजति तद्दूरे तत्समीपके तदन्तरस्य सर्वस्य तदु सर्वस्य बाह्यतः अजो अमजरो च अनादिनिधन स्वयं अविकारश्चिदानन्द अणियान्महतो महान् अपूर्वाणां परं नित्यं स्वयं ज्योतिर्निरामयम् विरजं परमाकाशं ध्रुवमानन्दमव्ययम् श्रुतिप्रत्यक्षमैत्रेय मनुमानश्चतुष्टयम् यस्य चात्मा तपो वेद देशिकं च सदा स्मरेत् मननं यद्भवं कार्यं तद्वदामि महामते साधुत्वं च मया दृष्ट्वा त्वयि तिष्ठति सम्प्रथम् अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः सर्वाश्रुतिशिरोरत्न विराजिता पदाम्बुजा वेदान्ताम्बुजसूर्यो यस्तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः यस्य स्मरणमात्रेण ज्ञानमुत्पद्यते स्वयं य एव सर्वसम्प्राप्तिस्तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः चैतन्यं शाश्वतं शान्तं व्योमातीतं निरञ्जनं नादबिन्दुकलातीतं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः स्थावरं जङ्गमं चैव तथा चैव चराचरं व्याप्तं येन जगत्सर्वं
तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः
ज्ञानशक्तिसमारूढस्तत्त्वमाला विभूषिता भुक्तिमुक्तिप्रदाताय तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः अनेकजन्म सम्प्राप्त सर्वकर्मविदाहिने स्वात्मज्ञानप्रभावेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः न गुरोरधिकं तत्त्वं न गुरोरधिकं तपः तत्त्वं ज्ञानात् परं नास्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे
नमः
मन्नाथ श्रीजगन्नाथो मद्गुरु श्रीजगद्गुरु ममात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा
तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः ज्ञानमूलं गुरुमूर्ति
पूजामूलं गुरुपदम् मन्त्रमूलं गुरुवाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरुकृपा गुरुरादिरनादिश्च गुरुपरमदैवतं गुरुपरतरं नास्ति
तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः
सागरपर्यन्त तीर्थस्नानादिकं फलं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपयो बिन्दु सहस्रांशेन दुर्लभम्
गुरुरुष्टे गुरुश्राता गुरुरुष्टेन काष्ठना Tasmat sarva prayamena Shri Gurum Sharanam Raje
Deva Jagat Sarvam Brahma Vishnu Shivatmakam Guru Parataram Nasti Tasmat Sambhujayet Gurum Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Labhyate Guru Bhaktitaha Guru Parataram Nasti Yaso Guru Margibhi Yasmat Parataram Nasti Nitti Nitti Vaishruti Manasa Vachasa Chaiva Nityam Aradhayet Gurum Guru Kripa Prasadena Dhamma Vishnu Sadashivaha Samartha Prabhavadaucha Kevalam Guru Sevaka Deva Kinnara Gandharvaha Pitaro Yaksha Charanaha Munnayopi na jananti Guru Sushrashane Vidim Mahahankara Garvena Tapo Vidya Balanvitaha Samsara Kuhara Varte Gatayantre Yatha Gata Namukta Deva Gandharva Pitaro Yaksha Kinnaraha Rishaya Sarva Siddhasya Guru Seva Parangmukha Jnanam Shunu Mahadevi Sarvananda Pradayakam Sarva Saukyakaram Nityam Mukti Mukti
Vidayakam
Srimad Parabrahma Gurum Smarami Srimad Parabrahma Gurum Namami Srimad Parabrahma Gurum Namami Srimad Parabrahma Gurum Bhajami Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadusham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvade Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunaраhitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Nityam Shuddham Nirabhasam Niraktaram Niranjanam Nityabodham Chidanandam Gurum Brahma Namamyaham Dambuje Karnika Madhya Samste Simhasane Samstita Divyamurtim Dhyayet Gurum Chandra Kala Prakasham Chitpustakabhi Kavaram Dadanam Shvetambaram Shvetavilepapushpam Mukta Vibhusham Muditam Drinetram Vamankapitas Sitadevya Shaktim Mandasmitam San Dvakrapanidhanam Anandamanandakaram Prasannam Jnanaswarupam Nijabodhayuktam Yogindra Mihyam Bhavadogavaidyam Srimad Gurum Yamaham Namami Yasmin Srishti Sthiti Dvamsa Nigraha Nugrahatmakam Satyam Pancha Vidam Shashvat Bhasate Tam Namamyaham Tvata Shira Shishukrabhye Videtvam Dvibhujam Gurum Varabhaya Yutam Shantam Smaretan Nama Purvakam Nagurodhikam 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 शिव शासनता शिव शासनता शिव शासनता शिव शासनता इदमेव शिवं त्विदमेव शिवं त्विदमेव शिवं त्विदमेव शिवं मम शासनतो मम शासनतो मम शासनतो मम शासनता एवं विदं गुरुं ध्यात्वा ज्ञानमुत्पद्यते स्वयं तत्सद्गुरु प्रसादेन मुक्तोऽहमिति भावयेत् गुरुदर्शितं मार्गेण मनः शुद्धिं तु कारयेत् अनित्यं खण्डयेत् सर्वं यत्किञ्चिदात्मगोचरम् ज्ञेयं सर्वस्वरूपं च ज्ञानं च मन उच्यते ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं समं कुर्यात् नान्यः पन्था द्वितीयः एवं श्रुत्वा महादेवी गुरुनिन्दां करोति यः स याति नरकं घोरं यावत् चन्द्रदिवाकरो यावत् कल्पान्तको देहः तावदेव गुरुं स्मरेत् गुरुलोपो न कर्तव्यः स्वच्छन्दो यदि वा भवेत् हुङ्कारेण न वक्तव्यं त्वाग्ने शिष्यै कथञ्चन गुरोरग्रे न वक्तव्यम् असत्यं च कदाचन गुरुं त्वं कृत्य हुङ्कृत्य गुरुं निर्जित्य वादताः अरण्ये निर्जले देशे
भवे ब्रह्म राक्षसा
मुनिभिः पन्नगैर्वापि सुरैर्वा शापितो यदि कालमृत्युभयाद्वापि गुरु रक्षति
पार्वती
अशक्ता हि सुराध्याश्च अशक्ता मुनयस्तथा गुरुशापेन ते शीघ्रं क्षयं यान्ति न संशयः मन्त्रराजमिदं देवी गुरुरित्यक्षरद्वयम् स्मृतिवेदार्थवाक्येन गुरु साक्षात् परं पदम् श्रुति स्मृति अविज्ञाय केवलं गुरुसेवकाः ते वै सन्न्यासिना प्रोक्ता हितवेवेशधारिणा नित्यं ब्रह्म निराकारं निर्गुणं बोधयेत् परं सर्वं ब्रह्म निराभासं
दीपो दीपान्तरं यथा
गुरु कृपा प्रसादेन आत्मारामं निरीक्षयेत् अनेन गुरु मार्गेण स्वात्मज्ञानं प्रवर्तते आब्रह्मस्तम्भपर्यन्तं परमात्मस्वरूपकम् स्थावरं जङ्गमं चैव प्रणमामि जगन्मयम् वन्देऽहं सच्चिदानन्दं वेदातीतं सदा गुरुं नित्यं पूर्णं निराकारं
निर्गुणं स्वात्मसंस्थितम्
परात्परत्तरं ध्येयं नित्यमानन्दकारकं हृदयाकाशमध्यस्थं शुद्धस्फटिकसन्निभं स्फटिकाप्रतिमारूपं दृश्यते दर्पणे यथा तथात्मनि चिदाकारम् आनन्दं सोऽहमित्युक्तः अङ्गुष्ठमात्रपुरुषं ध्यायतश्चिन्मयं हृदि तत्र स्फुरति भावोऽय अगोचरं तथागम्यं नामरूपाविवर्जितं
निःशब्दं च विजानीयात् स्वभवं ब्रह्म पार्वती यथा गन्धस्वभावेन
कर्पूरकुसुमादिषु शीतोष्णादि स्वभावेन तथा ब्रह्म च शाश्वतम् स्वयं तथा विदो भूत्वा स्थातव्यं यत्र कुत्रचित् ब्रह्मवत्तत्र ज्ञानं भवति तादृशम् गुरुध्यानं तथा कृत्वा स्वयं ब्रह्ममयो भवेत् पिण्डे पदे तथा रूपे मुक्तो सो नात्र संशयः श्रीपार्वती उवाच पिण्डं किन्तु महादेव पदं किं समुद्धारितं रूपातीतं च रूपं किम् एतद्वाक्याहि शङ्कर श्रीमहादेव उवाच पिण्डं कुण्डलिनी शक्ति पदं हंसामुदारतम्
रूपं बिन्दुर्जिज्ञेयं रूपातीतं निरञ्जनम्
पिण्डे मुक्ता पदे मुक्ता रूपे मुक्ता वरानने रूपातीते तु ये मुक्ता श्रीमुक्तानात्मसंशयाः स्वयं सर्वमयो भूत्वा परं तत्त्वं विलोकयेत् परात् परतरं नान्यत् सर्वमेतन्निरालयम् तस्यावलोकनं प्राप्य सर्वसङ्गविवर्जिताः एकाकेन स्पृहः शान्तस्तिष्ठासि तत्प्रसादताः लब्धं वा धन लब्धं वा स्वल्पं वा बहुलं तथा निष्कामेनैव भोक्तव्यं सदा सन्तुष्टचेतसा सर्वज्ञापदमित्याहुर्देहि सर्वमयो बुधा सदानन्द सदा शान्तो रमते यत्र कुत्रचित् यत्रैव तिष्ठते सोऽपि सदेश पुण्यभाजनम् मुक्तस्य लक्षणं देवी तवाग्रे कथितं मया उपदेशस्तथा देवी गुरुमार्गेण मुक्तिदा गुरुपरस्तथा ध्यानम्
सकलं तव कीर्तितम्
अन्येन यद् भवेत् कार्यं तद्वदामि महामते लोकोपकारकं देवी लौकिकं तु न भावये लौकिकात् कर्मणो यान्ति ज्ञानहीन भवार्णवम्
कर्मनिष्कर्म यत्कृतम्
इदं तु भक्तिभावेन पठते शृणुते यदि लिखित्वा तत्प्रसादव्यम्
तत्सर्वं सफलं भवेत्
गुरुगीतात्मकं देवी शुद्धतत्त्वं मयोदितं भवव्याधिविनाशार्थम्
स्वयमेव जपे सदा
गुरुगीताक्षवैकन्तु मन्त्रराजमिमं जपे अन्ये च विविधा मन्त्र फलं नारन्ति षोडशीम् अनन्तफलमाप्नोति गुरुगीताजपेन तु सर्वपापप्रशमनं सर्वदारिद्र्यनाशनम् कालमृत्युभयहरं सर्वसङ्कटनाशनम् यक्षराक्षसभूतानां चोरव्याघ्रभयापहम् महाव्याधिहरं सर्वं विभूतिसिद्धिदं भवेत् अथवा मोहनं वश्यं स्वयमेव जपे सदा
व्यसने च दारिद्र्यम्
पाषाणे रोगसम्भवः
मेदिन्यां दुःखमाप्नोति
काष्ठे भवति निष्फलम् कृष्णाजिन्यज्ञानसिद्धिर्मोक्षश्रीव्याघ्रचर्मणे कुशासने ज्ञानसिद्धि सर्वसिद्धिस्तु कम्बले कुशर्वा दुर्वया देवी आसने शुभ्रकम्बले उपविश्य ततो देवी जपेदेकाग्रमानसा ध्येयं शुक्लं च शान्त्यर्थं वश्ये वक्तासनं प्रिये अभिचारे कृष्णवर्णं पीतवर्णं धनागमे उत्तरे शान्तिकामस्तु वश्ये पूर्वामुखो जपे दक्षिणे महारणं प्रोक्तं पश्चिमे च धनागमा सर्वभूतानां बन्धमोक्षकरं भवेत् देवराज प्रियकरं सर्वलोकवशं भवेत् सर्वेषां स्तम्भनकरं गुणानां च विवर्धनं दुष्कर्मणाशनं चैव सुकर्म सिद्धिदं भवेत् असिद्धं साधयेत् कार्यं नवग्रहभयापहं दुःस्वप्ननाशनं चैव सुस्वप्नफलदायकम् सर्वशान्तिकरं नित्यं तथा वन्द्या सुपुत्रदम् अवैधव्यकरं स्त्रीणां सौभाग्यदायकं सदा आयुरारोग्यमैश्वर्य पुत्रपौत्रप्रवर्धनम् अकामता श्रीविधवा जपान् मोक्षम् अवाप्नुयात् अवैधव्यं सकामात् लभते चान्यजन्मनि सर्वदुःखभयं विघ्नम् नाशये चापारकाम् सर्वबाधापशमनं धर्मार्थकाममोक्षदम् यं यं चिन्तयते कामं तं तं प्राप्नोति निश्चितम् कामितस्य कामधेनु कल्पना कल्पपादपाः चिन्तामणि चिन्तितस्य सर्वमङ्गलकारकम् मोक्षहेतुर्जपे नित्यं मोक्षश्रियं वाप्नुयात्
भोगकामो जपे योगे तस्य कामफलप्रदम् जपे च तस्य सुरश्च
गानपत्यस्य वैष्णवा शैवस्य सिद्धिदं देवी सत्यं सत्यं न संशयः अथ काम्य जपे स्थानं कथयामि वरानने
सागरे वा सरितीरे
अथवा हरिहरालये शक्तिदेवालये गोष्ठे सर्वदेवालये शुभे वटे च धात्रिमूले वा मध्ये वृन्दावने तथा पवित्रे निर्मले स्थाने नित्यानुष्ठानतोऽपि वा निर्वेदनेन मौनेन
जपमेकं समाचरे श्मशाने
भयभूमौ तु
वन्तमूलान्तिके तथा सिद्ध्यन्ति दोतरे मूले वृक्षससानिधौ
चरुपुत्रो वरं मूर्खस्तस्य सिद्ध्यन्ति नान्यथा शुभकर्माणि सर्वाणि दीक्षाव्रततपंसि च संसारमलनाशार्थं भवपाशानिवृत्तये गुरुगीताम्बसि स्नानं
तद्वद्या कुरुते सदा
सैव च गुरु साक्षात् सदा सद्ब्रह्म वित्तमा तस्य स्थानानि सर्वाणि मित्राणि न संशय सर्वशुद्ध पवित्र स्वभावाद्यत्र तिष्ठति तत्र देवागणा सर्वे क्षेत्रे पीठे वसन्ति आसनस्था शय्यानो वा गच्छन् तिष्ठन् वदन्नपि अश्वारूढो गजारूढः सुप्तो वा जागृतोऽपि वा शुचिस्माश सदा ज्ञानी गुरुगीता जपेन्न तु तस्य दर्शनमात्रेण पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते समुद्रे च यथा तोयं क्षीरे क्षीरं घृते घृतं भिन्ने कुम्भे यथा काशात् तथात्मा परमात्मनि तथैव ज्ञानी जीवात्मा परमात्मनि लीयते ऐकेन रमते ज्ञानी
यत्र तत्र हरिमानिशाम्
एवं विदो महामुक्ता सर्वदा वर्तते बुधा तस्य सर्वप्रयत्नेन भावभक्तिं करोति यः सर्वसन्देहरहितो मुक्तो भवति पार्वती भुक्ति द्वयं तस्य
सरस्वती
अन्येन प्राणिनः सर्वे गुरुगीता जपेन्न तु सर्वसिद्धिं प्राप्नुवन्ति
भुक्तिमुक्तिं न संशयः
सत्यं सत्यं पुनः सत्यं धर्म्यं सांख्यं मयोदितं गुरुगीता समं नास्ति
सत्यं सत्यं वरानने
एको देव एक धर्म एकनिष्ठा परन्तपा गुरो परतरं नान्यत्
नास्ति तत्त्वं गुरो परम्
माता धन्या पिता धन्यो धन्यो वंशकुलं तथा धन्या च वसुधा देवी
गुरुभक्ति दुर्लभा
शरीरमिन्द्रियं प्राणान् शार्ता स्वजन बान्धवा माता पिता कुलं देवी गुरुरेव न संशयः अल्पजन्मना कोट्या जपा व्रता तपा क्रियाः तत्सर्वं सफलं देवी
गुरु सन्तोषमात्रता
विद्या तपो बलेनैव मन्दभाग्याश्च ये नराः गुरुसेवां न कुर्वन्ति सत्यं सत्यं वदामि ब्रह्म विष्णु महेशाश्च देवर्षि पितृकिन्नराः सिद्धचारण यक्षाश्च अन्येऽपि मुनयो जनाः गुरुभावा परं तीर्थम् अन्यतीर्थं निरर्थकम् सर्वतीर्थाश्रयो देवी पादाङ्गुष्ठं च वर्तते
जपेन जयमाप्नोति शानन्तफलमाप्नुयात्
हीनकर्म त्यजन् सर्वं
स्थानानि च रमाणि च
जपं हीनासनं कुर्वन् हीनकर्म फलप्रदम् गुरुगीतां प्रयाणेव संग्रामे विपुसङ्कटे जपं जयमवाप्नोति मरणे मुक्तिदायकम्
सर्वकर्म च सर्वत्र गुरुपुत्रस्य सिद्ध्यति
इदं रहस्यं नो वाच्यं संवादे कथितं मया
सुगोप्यां च प्रयत्नेन मम त्वं च प्रियात्मिति
Swami Mukhya Ganeshadi Vishnuvadinam cha Parvati
Manasapi na vaktavyam Satyam satyam vadamyam
Ativa Pakvachitaya Shraddhavati Yutaya cha
Pravaktavyamiram devi Mama masi sarapriye Durte pakane nastike nare Manasapi na vaktavya Guru Gita Karachana
Samsara Sagara Samuddharanaika Mantram Brahmadi Deva Muni Pujita Siddha Mantram Daridya Dukkha Bhavalo Dhavinasha Mantram Vande Mahabhayam Haram Guru Raja Mantram Iti Shri Skanda Purane Uttarakhande Ishvara Parvati Samvade Guru Gita Samapta Shri Gurudeva Charanarpanastu Nityanandaya Gurave Shishya Samsara Harine Bhakta Karyaika Dehaya Namaste Chitsaratmane Nirvasanam Nirakansham Savadosha Vivarjitam Niralambam Nirantankam Nityanandam Namamyam Nirmamam Nirankaram Samalostashmakanshanam Samadukha Sukhamadiram Avadutam Namamyam Avinashi Namammanam Ekavignaya Tatpata Vitaraga Bhayakrodam Nityanandam Namamyam Naham Deho Name Deho Jivanahamahamnichit Evam Vignaya Santushtam Avadutam Namamyam Samasta Kalpana Mantram Atma Mukta Sanatana Iti Vignaya Santruptam Nityanandam Namamyam Yanagdiragna Karmanam Kama Sankalpa Varjitam Hiyopadeya Hinantam Avadutam Namamyam Swabhave Naiva Yogi Sukham Bhogam Dvanchati Yadrichala Vasantushtam Nityanandam Namamyam Naiva Ninda Prasansadhyam Yasya Vikriyate Mana Atmakriram Mahatmanam Nityam Jagadavastayam
Swapnavadyo Vatishtate Nishchintam Chinmayatmaram Nityanandam Namamyam Vesham Nasti Priyam Nasti Veradhyana Vihiram Tam Avadutam Namamyam Jaram Pashati No Yastu Jagat Pashanti Chinmayam
Nityayuktam Gunatitam
Nityanandam Namamyam Yo hi Darshanamatrena Avate Bhuvanatrayam
Pavanam Jangamam Tirtam Avadutam
Namamyam
Sarva Pujyam Sada Purnam Yakandananda Vigraham Swaprakasham Chidanandam
Nityanandam Namamyam
Salam Nishkriyam Shantam Nirmalam
Paramamritam Ganesha Purivasinam Avadutam Namamyam योगपूर्णं तपोमूर्तिं प्रेमपूर्णं सुदर्शनं ज्ञानपूर्णं कृपामूर्तिं नित्यानन्दं नमाम्यहम्
दुर्जना सज्जनो भूयात् सज्जना
शान्तिमाप्नुयात् शान्तो मुचेत् प्रबन्धेभ्यो मुखाशन्यान् विमोचये स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण मही महिषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी शस्यशालिनी
देशोऽयं
शोभरहितो ब्रह्मणः सन्तु निर्भयाः
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः
सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु
मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् सर्वस्तरतु दुर्गाणि सर्वो भद्राणि पश्यतु
सर्वत्र नन्दतु स्वस्ति मात्रा च पीठेनो अस्तु स्वस्ति गोभ्यो जगते पुरुषेभ्यः
विश्वं सुभूतं सुविधात्रं नोऽस्तु जोगे वधृष्येम सूर्यम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति
आरती करुं सदा गुरु की करुं सदा गुरु की प्यारे गुरु पर की आरती करुं गुरु पर की आरती करुं सदा गुरु की करुं सदा गुरु की प्यारे गुरु पर
के आरती
जय गुरुदेवा हमारा
विनाशी
ज्ञान रूप तरते वासी
जय गुरुदेवा मला
नाशी ज्ञान रूप तरते वासी
पद पद पर दे प्रकाश ऐसे किरण
बिना आरती करूं गुरुवर की आरती करूं सदा गुरु की करूं सदा गुरु की प्यारे गुरुवर की आरती करूं गुरुवर की जब से शरण तुम्हारी आए अमृत से मीठे फल पाए
जब से शरण तुम्हारे आए
अमृत से मीठे फल पाए
शरण तो शक्ति योग ज्ञान के अकल जय गुरु चरण सरोज मिटारी यथा हमारे प्यारे अंधकार से हमें निकाला
दिखाला हमारा उजाला अंधकार से हमें निकाला दिखाया है हमारा उजाला
कब से जाने जान रहे थे जला कर निशा ज्योति दिखलाने वाले
लीला धर की आरती करूं गुरुवर की आरती करूं
पूरे
बाबा
पादा
हरे जानकी आरती करो गुरुवर की आरती करो
सद्गुरु
की करो
सद्गुरु
गुरु के प्यारे गुरु हर की आरती करो गुरुवर की ओम चैतन्यं शाश्वतं शान्तं व्योमातीतं निरञ्जनं नारबिन्दु कलातीतं तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः
सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की
Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, my voice. Oh, that improves. Welcome. I'll get some water here in a minute. Welcome, everyone, to Sunday morning Satsang here at Shanti Mandir. Welcome is a very important element of our spiritual practice. It is the essence of bhakti, and my talk today is on devotion and the poet saints of Maharashtra. A short essay, a short sharing, a few words, mostly the words of the poet saints themselves, in particular Tukaram Maharaj. To be a saint, what does that mean? We have to become a big person? Not a big person. Small person. Very, very small person, right? We become as if invisible, that the ego disappears. We become very, very humble. You see across the world that there are saints that are canonized for the deeds they do. Somehow or another, people decide that people are saints. Be that as it may, when we spend time in the company of such people, we find ourselves uplifted, and the main thing that we gain from them is divine love. Love infused, we are infused with love in their presence. Recently, Jackie and I went to Hillsdale, Michigan to spread my brother's ashes, my younger brother, and we went to a Catholic church just to visit, just to sit there in that church. When we're in a place that doesn't have a lot of, that's conservative, we try to find a place like that. As Gurudev says, the steeples of the churches were always the highest building in the old days when we went through, when a city was built. And for good reason, because that was indicating this is a place where you can find love, where you can find peace, where you can find solace. And so that's what we do when we go there. And sat there in a pew. Many people were there. It was a Thursday afternoon, so business is good. But in that space, there was a lot of peace, a lot of devotion that people were feeling, that we were feeling. And it's a regular thing that we do when we visit a place. So the poet saints in particular of Maharashtra, they were favorites of Baba Muktananda. And that love that Baba had for the poet saints was very, very contagious. And he was contagious. He was a poet saint. And his devotion and his ecstasy was emblematic of the poet saints. So when he quoted them, he was speaking from experience, it appeared, because the atmosphere, as many of us remember, charged with divine love. And as he would say, we are born from love, we exist in love, we return to love. Of love is all there is. And without love, life is dry, life is empty, life is difficult. When we can find that space of love within us, then we have peace, we have solace, we have devotion. So this is what we get from the saints of Maharashtra. Baba used to quote this particular abhanga from Jnaneshwar Maharaj. Avagachi sansara sukha cha karina, anandi bharina, anandi bharina, tini loka, avagachi sansara sukha cha karina, anande bharina, tini loka. So this is almost like, you could say, it could have been Baba's theme song. He says, Dhaneshwar says, I will do all my worldly transactions and I will fill this world with bliss. I will do all my actions, everyone that I meet, everything that I do will be filled with this joy, with happiness. and then consequently, I will fill the world with bliss. This is a very, very high practice that the saint is able to do. They say the company of a saint is indelible in its effect, rare, hard to find, but unfailing in its effect. And the effect is to be infected by this divine love. So, being in Baba's company, Umesh remembers the days when we began looking through the poems of Tukaram and Yaneshwar Maharaj. And one of the quick things I'll tell you is that when Baba left Oakland Ashram, soon thereafter, Swami Prajnananda Amma somehow managed to get a copy of the movie of Tukaram from 1936 and had that put on at the Berkeley Film Festival in Berkeley. And a lot of the ashramites went to see it. I went to see it, and I was completely captivated by his story. There's not too much written about Tukaram. Most of the story comes from, and what I'm doing now is using Tukaram as an example of the many poet saints in Maharashtra and around India who in those days had decided, somehow as a movement, this conflagration, this flame of this fire of divine love spread all through India. And the goal was to bring the teachings of the Vedas, which was strictly in Sanskrit, into the hands of the people, into the hands, the mouths, and the hearts of the people, and give them understanding of that teaching. So consequently transform all of India. And this was actually happening in other parts of the world at the same time, from the 12th century to the 18th century in Europe as well, with the Christian mystics that many of you know about. So this feeling of devotion, this feeling of awakening of divine love was happening there. This movie was done in 1936. We went to see it and got a copy of the movie and rented the movie, saw it again, sold tickets. 200 people from the ashram went to see it. So it was like the bhakti movement was happening in the Oakland ashram as well. We even we started learning the poems from the movie. We would transcribe from the tape, audio tape of the movie, get the English, get the Sanskrit. Umesh would somehow supply us with the Marathi translation and would learn these poems. And we even were so inspired that we created a play of the Bhakti Saints of Maharashtra. So we got really, really inspired. And this has been an inspiration that's carried through my life since that time, which I was about 30 at that time, less than 30. So these poems are very dear. So a saint is somebody that is very powerful in a way, in that he's given up all his power to the divine. And our difficulties, according to the saints, are that we hold on to everything and we think we are doing everything. We want things. We are afraid we're going to lose things. So this whole mental preoccupation that occupies us 24/7. The sages say, give that up. Give that up and give your burden to the divine. Tukaram says, Hechi Tora Bhakti Avadati Deva. Hechi Tora Bhakti Avadate Deva. Sankalpa Vimaya Sansarachi Sansarachi. Tukaram says, One should have this kind of strong devotion. So the devotion is not sort of a namby-pamby thing, but it's strength. It's the strength to know who you are, to know who God is. He said, God loves this great devotion. One should live offering all your attachment, all your worldly attachment to God. One should live with your mind on the infinite. One should live the way that God keeps us. The mind should be in the heart, should remain there content. Offer your karma, offer your suffering, offer your difficulties, offer your sorrow to God. This is all karma. Understand it as karma in your world and give it up, transfer it. God likes his great devotion of those who offer to the Lord their attachment to the world. This is reflective of the fact that the nice thing about the poet saints is that they talk about sadhana from many different perspectives. And the difficulties of a person, the way that you can get through those difficulties and endure. And Tukaram himself had plenty of those. Many people in his family passed away. There was a famine. He was quite poor, and many difficulties occurred to him, but he endured. And as he did that, he continued to write poetry and be inspired by this divine love, by his love for Vitala, the form of Krishna that he worshipped. And all the poet saints worship the form of Lord Vitala, who stands on the brick, which is another story. But Tukaram endured. I mean, he had a lot of difficulties. If you watch the movie, it's very, very nice. And one of the early scenes, you see his wife coming up the hill, and his wife had a lot of difficulties too, because her husband was always just writing poetry and singing and in meditation and solving his problems in this way. But needless to say, we don't need to judge Tukaram or his wife, but she was determined to help him and to support him. And at one point, she's climbing up this rugged hillside, and she gets a thorn in her foot, and she stops, and she has this rage, and she blames this Tukaram, the Vital, for her problems, because she's angry at Tukaram's God for causing all these difficulties. And so she's cursing God. And she sits there, and a person comes by, an old man, and he says, well, what's up? What happened here? And he sits with her, and he takes one thorn, and he takes the thorn out of her foot, and he goes along his way, and he disappears. And Tukaram, of course, knows that is Lord Vital, and she says, "So that's my divine mother. That's my." So, as what happens in our lives, that things occur to us, and we get protection, and we get answers, and we get solace, and we get friendship and love, and it is all the divine. So it takes all these different forms. And meanwhile, Tukaram has reached a stage in his sadhana, and these poems are not written sequentially, but you see some having to do with the difficulty that he has in reaching God, and realizing his inadequacies, realizing his limitations as a sadhaka. He's not there yet, and at some point, he begins writing poems that are very exalted, very, in a sense, unified. And here, in studying these poems, as we're studying Baba's teachings, and Baba's talking of the philosophy of Vedanta, of oneness, and the waking state, deep sleep, dream state, all three are pervaded by consciousness. And everything is consciousness. So this is the teaching that Baba is giving us. And this ordinary farmer, Tukaram Maharaj, is giving the same teaching in his own simple, allegorical way. And he says in this poem, he's in a state of contentment. In the movie, it opens with this where he's in a sunlit field, meditating, the birds are singing, and he's in this ecstatic state of bhakti, of devotion. Anika dusare mazanahi ata, anika dusare mazanahi ata, nemile yachita pasoniya panduranga dhyani, panduranga dhyani, panduranga mani, panduranga dhyani. He goes on, but I'll read the English. He says, nothing more is there for me to do now. Think of this. Think of telling yourself this. There's nothing more for me to do now. It just creates this silent space within us when we think like this. So he's reached this space, this place. This mind has finally, he says, has become very focused. He said, now I understand. Panduranga, or Vitala, God, is in my state of meditation. It's in my mind. It's in my waking state. It is in my dream state. All is Panduranga. All is God. It has become a habit of senses. Even the senses are feeling it. And we see that in the Upanishads. There is no other disposition at all. There's no other attitude. There's no other state of mind. There is only Panduranga. So here he's reached this space. So you see in his poetry this ecstatic description, a very, very articulate description of the state of oneness. And so far, by listening to the poems, by studying the teachings, we can gain that. And when I think about Baba and I think about the teachings, the time spent with him, and the time spent, much more time spent with Gurudev, everything that the Guru has, he gives to us. Everything that he understands, everything that he teaches is coming to us. So the Guru gave us, Baba gave us these poets, and it occurred to me that the expression, your friends are my friends. Anybody that's your friend is my friend. And so, in a way, the poet saints you can invite them in as family members. People that are close to you, that can help you in times of difficulty. So I think the Catholics know about the solace or the protection of the saints. So this is something very real, especially with Tukaram and Jnaneshwar. So Tukaram wrote nearly 4,000 abhangas. I have the book. I think Umesh must have acquired the book from Motilal Banarsinas in India for me. And sometimes we'll look for one of the poems and find it by the first letter and open the book and write it out, and it'll be translated. So we find another piece of the treasure, that's the offerings from these poet saints. So Tukaram lived his life in this way, writing poetry, supporting his family in various ways during a very difficult famine period in India. And his poems became more and more famous. And he began doing kirtan and becoming very popular, and everybody was singing his poems. Some people were even pretending they'd written his poems as it was. They wanted to be great. They wanted to be great like Tukaram. But remember, to be a saint, one of the things it says in the Bhakti Sutras, you have to completely be without ego. You have to be free, completely free of attachment. And it's recommended that you serve the saints. Spend time in the company of the saints. So these three things: give up all ego, give up all attachment, be in the company and serve the saints. That's the way to become a saint, to become full of devotion. So he was not a big person, but people thought he was, perhaps. And he began to get in trouble because Tukaram was one of the many saints that was writing Vedic teachings in Marathi, and that was considered sort of a blasphemous thing. And so he was taken before the tribunal of the pundit of that area. He was called he was the district or the county person that came in. And as he was in the movie, he's riding on a donkey. He's a very kind of royal entry, and as he's coming in, there are different people on either side: the blacksmith, the vendor of fruit, the flower seller. All of them are singing different bits of Tukaram's poems about dharma, about love, about family, about responsibility, and all the things that Tukaram would write about, in particular about repetition of mantra. That you keep repeating the mantra no matter what. Keep repeating the mantra. Have devotion. Give your burden over to God. Those teachings were continuously being learned and taught and spoken and sung by these people as this priest was going through. And as he got through, he got more and more angry with this guy Tukaram. He's everywhere. And he's really become insidious. I have to do something about it. So they called for Tukaram, and he came before the tribunal. He came before him, and they said, here he is. Here's the criminal. Here's that bad person that's been writing this devotional poetry and so on. And it's, what do you have to say for yourself? And he sang this poem. Vedananta bolila, arte tukachi sadila, vitobachi sharana jave, nija nishta nama gave, sakala shastransha vichara, ata itukachi nirdara, tukamani hechi heta. So Tukaram is saying everything that's written in all the Vedas, all the Puranas, all the scriptures that we know, all the Indian scriptures, can all be boiled down to two things. So here he's giving his proclamation to this priest in the boldest way. He says, Vitobache sharana jave, nija nishta nama gave. Surrender to Vitoba is number one. Surrender to God. So remember, to be a big person, to be a saint, you surrender everything. You is gone. The second is sing God's name. Repeat God's name with faith. He says all the scriptures boil down to these two things. And if we think about it, we might find that is true. That all that we read, all that we study is designed to help us to adopt this practice. These two things, you can think about it. Surrender to God, repeat God's name. What does that mean? It sounds a lot like Baba's teaching. Meditate on yourself, God dwells within you as you. So there's a teaching that Tukaram very boldly, arrogantly almost gave to this tribunal. And the priest got very angry. And he said he has to take all of his poems and dump them in the river. So it was like the townspeople were aghast. They were just, oh my God, how can you do this? These are our poems. This is our Tukaram. He's so dear. And he was taken to the river, and the poems were in packages. His wife helped him bring them from the house. They're all wrapped up in string, and and then he dunked them one by one in the river. They go to the bottom, and Tukaram fasts for, I think it's 12 days. Umesh is quiet. So now the Tukaram is fasting. The family is sitting by. 13. That was close. So now the poems are in the water, right? So they're ruined, basically. They must be ruined. They're in the water. They're written with ink, and it's the old days. They're not laminated or digitalized or anything. These are it. These poems are lost, right? So he's fasting for 13 days. His wife is trying to get him to eat food. He's not eating anything. He's distraught, but he's still repeating Vittala, 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 Vittala the whole time. And of course, the miracle happens. The Devi in the river, the Devi that embodies, the river is the embodiment of the Devi. By this miracle, you know what happens. They come to the surface, and people take them out, and they're saved. They put them on top of their heads. They have this big procession, celebration. It means he is exonerated because the Devi has given this sign. Meanwhile, Rameshwar Bhatt, who is the priest that proclaimed this punishment to Tukaram, comes running, and his body is aflame. His body is on fire. He's having a rash all over every part of his skin. He's rolling on the ground. He's trying to get relief, and he goes to Tukaram, and he said, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. And he pranams to him, and he touches his feet, and Tukaram begins to stroke his back. And as he does that, the heat decreases in his body. He becomes healed of that. And he just completely falls at Tukaram's feet and becomes his devotee from that time on. And he wrote the arati that's sung every day, probably twice a day, to Tukaram Maharaj, extolling his virtues and his qualities as a saint. So this was then the culmination. This was the essence of his life was giving himself over to the divine, understanding that he is divine. At some point in one of the poems he says, I went looking for God, and I find that I was God. There was no me left in that quest. This is the subtlety that he attained as a yogi. So the final poem that's always sung at the end of a Vaikari celebration is this. I won't sing all of it. Echi dana dega deva, tuza visarana wawa, tuza visarana wawa, guna gaina vadi, echi mazi sarva jodi, echi maza sarva jodi. Nalage mukti ani sampada, santa sangha de sada, santa sangha de sada. Tuka mane garbhavase, sukha galaveyam hasi, sukhe galaveyam hasi. Tukaram says, and this is his wish, this is his wish for the rest of his life, and this is a very, very noble and wonderful thing to wish for. He's not wishing for fame or fortune or to have a long life or anything worldly at all. He says, oh God, just grant me only this boon. May I never forget you. So imagine that one wish that you could have, what would you wish for? So Tukaram chose this. May I never forget you, O God. I will prize it dearly. I desire neither salvation, nor riches, nor prosperity. Keep me always in the company of the sages. I ask only that. May I never forget you, and let me be in the company of the saints. Tukaram says, on this condition, you may send me to earth again and again. I'll go back as many times as long as I can be in the company of the saints. You let me never forget you. Sangunath Maharaj Ki Jai.
अमृतावनी घोड़ा नमा तुझे देवा, नमा तुझे देवा.
अमृताहुनी घोड़ा नमा तुझे देवा, नमा तुझे
देवा. मन माज केशवा, मन माज केशवा.
काबनेगे, काबनेगे. अमृताहुनी घोड़ा
नमा तुझे देवा, नमा तुझे देवा. संग पंढरी राया काया कारुण्यासी, संग पंढरी राया काया कारुण्यासी. कारूप ध्यानासी नाये तुझे, नाये तुझे. अमृताहुनी घोड़ा नमा तुझे देवा, नमा तुझे देवा. मन माज केशवा, मन माज केशवा.
काबनेगे,
काबनेगे. अमृताहुनी घोड़ा नमा तुझे देवा, नमा तुझे देवा. कीर्तनी बैसांथान निद्रे नागविले, कीर्तनी बैसांथान निद्रे नागविले. मन माज गुंताले विषय सुख, विषय सुख. अमृताहुनी घोड़ा नमा तुझे देवा, नमा तुझे देवा. अमृताहुनी घोड़ा नमा तुझे देवा, नमा तुझे देवा. हरि दर्श गर्जती, हरि नामचा कीर्ती,
हरिदास गरजती हरिनामाच्या कीर्ती
नाये माझ चेती
नामाने
नाये
माझ चित्ते नामाने अमृताहुनी गोडा
नामा तुझे देवा नामा तुझे देवा मन माझ केशवा मन माझ केशवा खाबाने गे खाबाने गे अमृताहुनी गोडा नामा तुझे देवा नामा तुझे देवा अमृताहुनी गोडा अमृताहुनी गोडा अमृताहुनी गोडा नामा तुझे देवा नामा तुझे देवा. O Lord, your name is sweeter than nectar, but O Keshava, why doesn't my mind repeat it? Tell me, O Lord of Pandharpur, what should I do about this? Why can't I contemplate your form? When I sit to chant, sleep overpowers me. My mind is involved in the sense pleasures. The saints, servants of the Lord, are shouting the glory of God's name. Namadev says, but my mind doesn't listen.
विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठले
विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठले
विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठले
विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठले
पांडुरंग विठ्ठले पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठले
पांडुरंग विठ्ठले पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठले
पांडुरंग विठ्ठले पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठले
पांडुरंग विठ्ठले पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठले
विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठले
विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठले
विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठले
पांडुरंग विठ्ठले पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठले
पांडुरंग विठ्ठले पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठले
पांडुरंग विठ्ठले पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठले
पांडुरंग विठ्ठले पंढरीनाथ पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठले
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठले
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
पांडुरंग विठ्ठले पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठले
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल
पांडुरंग विठ्ठले पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठले
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठले
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठले
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
पांडुरंग विठ्ठले पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठले
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल
पांडुरंग विठ्ठले पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठले
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ
विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठले
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठले
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग
पांडुरंग विठ्ठले पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठले
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ
पांडुरंग विठ्ठले पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठले
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ
ओ विठ्ठल विठ्ठले पांडुरंग विठ्ठले
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल 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 पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल 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 पांडुरंग विठ्ठल
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ
पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल 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 पांडुरंग विठ्ठल 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 पांडुरंग विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल पंढरीनाथ विठ्ठल पांडुरंग
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala.
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala,
Vittala, Vittala.
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandarinath, Vittala,
Panduranga, Vittala.
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandarinath, Vittala, 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 Panduranga, Vittala,
Vittala, Vittala.
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala, Pandarinath, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala, Pandarinath, Vittala, 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 Panduranga, Vittala,
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala.
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala,
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala.
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandarinath, Vittala,
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandharinath, Vittala.
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandarinath, Vittala,
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandharinath, Vittala.
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala,
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala.
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala,
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala.
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandarinath, Vittala,
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandharinath, Vittala.
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandarinath, Vittala,
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandharinath, Vittala.
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala,
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala.
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala,
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala.
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandarinath, Vittala,
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandharinath, Vittala.
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandarinath, Vittala,
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandharinath.
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala,
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala.
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala,
Vittala, Vittala.
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandarinath, Vittala,
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandharinath, Vittala.
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandarinath, Vittala,
Panduranga, Vittala, Pandharinath.
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala,
Vittala, Vittala.
Vittala, Vittala, Panduranga, Vittala, 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 Panduranga, Vittala.
इसको खाली आगे कर दो बस थोड़ा स्टैंड कर इसको और थोड़ा आगे कर गोविंद आया बस उसको नीचे कर दे ड्रम को नीचे कर दे स्टैंड हो Somebody's phone is buzzing. Tanandaya Gurave Shishya Samsaraharine Bhattakare Kadehaya Namaste Chitsadatmane Om Namah Shivaya Yacheda Nanda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Sadgurnath Maharaj Ki Jai. With great love, with great respect, a heartfelt welcome to everyone here for Satsang and online. I think Lavarji is very excited. He feels he's in Maharashtra today, attending a kirtan, and I wish he could speak in Marathi. So either he has to learn English or you have to learn Marathi, one of the two. He will learn English. He figures it's easier for him to learn English. I love what Dan ended with. He chidana dega deva tuza visarana vava. There is a book written by a devotee on Bhagwan Nityananda, which simply has the second part, tuza visarana vava, which means, may I never forget you. So our topic today is dharma, and I thought with dharma goes karma, because they are somehow tied together. You can only be on the right path of dharma if you are doing the right karma. And only if you are doing the right karma can you be on the path of dharma. Both are very complex subjects. I'm not even going to try to say that I will try to explain anything. I will only confuse you more, is all I think. I'll hopefully bring some clarity in your confusion, either way. Because the Srimad Bhagavad Gita says, Kavayo apyatra mohitaha. Even the wise find it a very complex subject, difficult to express. I was reading the Indian President Radhakrishnan's book. In the introduction to his Upanishads, the principal Upanishads, he's got a lot on what he called dharma as ethical conduct. Because there's no English word for it, dharma. People think of it as a religion, but actually has nothing to do with religion. Because dharma is always talked of, thought of by people as a religion. But dharma comes from the root. Every Sanskrit word has a root. Every Latin word has a root. So the root is dharayati iti dharma. That which sustains you, that which holds you, that which propels you, that is dharma. So that which impels you to perform action. And as we were chanting, I was trying to think of it's difficult in a way to express this whole aspect of dharma. Because people get confused on the whole concept and the subject. Because the question many people ask is, what is my dharma? What is my duty? What should I do? But really, I think the whole process of meditation brings what is called Atma Vikasa and Atma Nirvana, the development of your own personality, the development of your own personality, and then a creation as we go along of who we are. And a lot of this is dependent upon the people we hang out with. Parents, family, friends, co-workers. Because we bring, of course, our own predisposition with us, prarabdha, and then add to all of this. So you're probably wondering what my bottles here mean. This is sattva, this is raja, and this is tamas. So sattva is pure, sattva is clear, rajas is red, a lot of passion, a lot of activity, and tamas is inertia, is where we find society at today, really, is between these two. And then in the fridge I found this, which is also clear, but yesterday when I offered it to Devyani, Prabal said, it's got a flavor, toasted coconut. Devyani said, Larry and Luann like it. So I thought, you could be sattva, but you could have a flavor. So sattva we want to come to is non-flavored. Just for fun. So it just happened to be there, so I thought, because there are people who are very sattvic, as is said in English. But that sattva of theirs is flavored. I was thinking of bringing Tabasco and pepper also. Because life is actually flavored with all these things. You know, we have the German word that's come into English is Angst. Angst means it's a fear. Ich habe Angst. I have fear. I have a fear of what? Sometimes I don't know. And sometimes probably deep-rooted is what I call a predisposition. And that predisposition that's deep-rooted, I don't even understand. Larry, maybe you want to move the stand behind so I can see if you have any reactions. Thanks. Don't move it too far away because they really will need it. I like to look at the audience and see whether they like what I say or don't like, because their face tells it all. Then I know next time I speak on this subject where I have to improve my presentation. Not that I might remember, but sometimes I do. As I'm speaking and the word wants to come out, I say, no, it had a negative reaction last time. So imagine how fast the mind has to process. You think Google is fast? Our mind is fast as well. It's just because we are in tamas, dullness, inertia. And if you read the 16th chapter, it talks about foods that cause that as well. Or if you are in rajas, it's a lot of activity. And so much activity that you are not clear on what is going on within your own self. There's a lot of, what I use an example often here is sitting, we have what is Devyani calls it the Jackmobile, her nephew's car. So you can imagine, we had actually coming back from Long Island the other day, everything was going along fine. And somebody from behind, went, and Devyani was, it was like 11 o'clock at night on the thruway, and this car came out of nowhere. So it's rajas, and then the example I want to give is, it's a fast car with a loud engine, and it's in neutral, and all you're doing is revving. And if you've ever seen a motorcycle pop or wheelie, I've done that in my younger days, it's also a lot of noise and a lot of dust. And it's a thrill for a moment if it doesn't cause an accident. But it's what it is. And so when you come to the Guru, when you come to the sage, when you come to all of that which Dana talked about, and you can imagine what he wanted to say was the Tukaram Gatha, which is this thick a book. And then just to try and find an abhanga, that unbroken song written by Tukaram. And to imagine, as he was speaking, when you remember, we've been to Pandharpur just around Ashadhi Ekadashi. And there are places what they call mathas, homes, where people do nothing but sing all day long. Their farming is done. And so our accountant the other day, talking to me, he said, I am 77. And my family tells me I should retire. And I think he said, my 2 brother-in-laws have done that. And one watches soap operas and one plays golf. And he said, I don't think I want to do either of those. I said, good, Barry, that's a good choice. He said, I want to come to you and talk to you about retirement and death. So Devani said, okay, come during Navratra, attend a little bit of the puja, have lunch, and we'll talk about retirement and death. Because our society today, the word I use is happy hour. People think I've worked all day long, I need to relax, and the way to relax is happy hour. Now I was imagining, I think Umesh's father, when he visited here, he would sing the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. That was his happy hour. Seriously. I mean, he came, I don't know how many days he spent or a day he spent, whatever he spent here, and it's like they were busy, so what am I going to do? He didn't look for somebody to hang out with. He didn't look for somebody to gossip with. He said, I'm going to chant the Bhagavad Gita. Now this is dharma. And many people often say the very first verse is dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yutsavaha mamakas chaiva manmaka pandavas chaiva kimakurvata sanjaya. So this, of course, refers to the battlefield of Kurukshetra in what is now Haryana in India. But people say, if you take this, dharma kshetre kurukshetre, that this kshetra, which is talked about in the 13th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, don't get confused and don't get lost. Stay with me, okay? Because I know I'm not even looking at my notes. This is... so that this body, this vehicle, is your field of a dharma, wherein you have, it's a battlefield. Because I have mine, and in the story of the Mahabharata is the Pandavas and the Kauravas. And Dhritarashtra asks, the blind king asks, Kim Kurvata Sanjaya? O Sanjaya, who is the witness, who is going to be sitting next to the blind king and tell him the scenes that are taking place at the battlefield. So the witness within us, within each and every one of us, called the Atman, is observing and witnessing everything that you are doing. So when for a moment you think nobody knows what I am doing, you are incorrect. You are now in adharma. You are not in dharma. Because in dharma, you would remember that witness, sakshi cheto kevala nirgunascha, is how the Upanishads describe it, without any form, without any of these gunas. That witness is observing, is watching. And so what bites most of us is that conscience of ours. I always tell Devyani, when somebody tells you, I didn't know, I don't know, I didn't see, I never knew, I said, no, they are lying. This is my take. In Maharashtra, we say, Yeda banke peda kha. It's my favorite line over the last few years, and I said it to Dikshit the other day, and he laughed. He had a big laugh. Because it's becoming a fool and trying to fool someone else. And I think we do this to each other. Forgetting that I am not on dharma, I am not on karma, I am on adharma, I am on akarma, I am on vikarma. Adharma, that which you should not do. You know that that's not right, that's not correct. That somewhere along the way, you will have to pay. And that's akarma and that's vikarma also. Karma is what should be done, should do. Akarma is what should not be done. And you know that. Nobody tell me, I didn't know that. It's like we have a speed sign, 5 miles per hour. Hardly anybody follows that. And you see the dust that's raised by the cars that go. Why? Because the driveway has no policeman sitting there. I have a good joke that somebody sent, and I share this with some people sometimes. At lunchtime, sit in your car with glasses and with a hairdryer. That's what the policeman does, right? He sits in the car with his radar gun. I don't know here in the US, but in Australia, they have dummy police cars, meaning there is a police car placed and there's no policeman or policewoman in that car. And as Swami Vishweshwaranji says, here in the US, even if somebody is going the speed limit, as soon as he sees the cop, his foot comes off the gas. And then he looks at his speedometer and realizes, I'm fine. Because somewhere within that consciousness telling you, what is my dharma, what is my karma. So, even I should not use that word, right? Person who thinks, I don't know anything, and tells you. Sometimes some people tell me, I just got confused. Well, if you are aware that you got confused, that means you know, I shouldn't have done this. But yet, you do it, knowing fully well that it's adharma, akarma, vikarma. But you hope and think that maybe I'll get away with it. We all would love that nobody is seeing, nobody is watching, and I'll, boom, get away with it. But then remember, dharma gives you punya and sukha. Punya is merit. And sukha, again, a word that English language does not have. And that I simply say, comfortable with yourself. So wherever you go, you feel good because you know, I have never done adharma, I have never done akarma, I have never done vikarma. And if you still have a problem in life, you can simply say it's past karma. It happens to people, they think I'm that righteous, correct, always correct, and boom, something takes place. And they go, how did this happen? I'm so right. I'm always, doing exactly what Lavarji says, or exactly what the astrologer says, exactly what the scriptures say, and yet, boom. Vivek wrote me the other day, a 9-year-old girl who used to come to our English school, Sharda Prabha, I'm sure Umesh remembers her. Ria, I think was her name. Beautiful girl, loved by everyone, but her parents moved to a different school. She woke up with a headache, nausea. I think it was 3 p.m. in the afternoon or 8 p.m. in the evening, and then 3 a.m. the next day, she is gone. She has a brain aneurysm. They took a little while, I think, otherwise medically to find out. Parents were good. They donated her organs. Now, what do you say? A 9-year-old going along well in life. There is no sign. And the parents, I'm sure, wonder, what did we do? What did the child do? I watched a little bit of a political show that I should not discuss. But the point I want to make here is that in the last many years since Columbine, there has been, I think, I forget now, I was going to write it down, X number of shootings in schools and 335,000. That's a large number. It's not a small number. And there was a girl who survived the shooting but who lost part of her hand. So then immediately, because I was thinking of dharma, karma, akarma, vikarma, and all of these gunas, and I thought to myself, what is it as a country, as a society? Because I don't know if any other country has this problem other than the United States. This particular show said no, that no other country has this problem. So why would a 14-year-old go in with one of those things that you see in war? How or who would give a 14-year-old child an instrument that he or she, mostly it's been a he, I think, so far, would not even be aware of? And I tell people this, all of these children grow up playing video games. In a video game, you go, you press a reset button, they're all alive again. It doesn't happen in real life. So when you think of this word dharma, dharma, what is the child, what is the individual being sustained by? The Upanishad begins with Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara. Speak truth, follow the path of dharma. We don't teach this to our children today. We don't tell our young people today. We don't have conversations. And I said last week, and I'll say this week again, on one of the TED Talks is an 8-year-old girl telling the adult audience how to be with a little child. An 8-year-old girl is telling the adult audience how to be with a little baby, how to be with a little child. Because the adults have forgotten how to be with a child. Because, one, we are living alone. Sometimes alone means alone, not even without the other person, man or woman, who gave birth to that child. So as an individual, you are, there with this. It's not a toy that you can just put on the side and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to be back after 6 or 8 hours. In a few minutes, it's going to wake up and it's going to go, and it wants an individual. It wants love. It wants attention. So imagine that particular soul which does not receive anything about dharma, adharma, karma, akarma, vikarma. The mother said a very simple thing. Until it's just a number, you don't feel anything. It's when it affects you directly that now you begin to think. Because now it's no longer a number. It has direct effect on you in your life. And why I become passionate, and some people sometimes think I am, because I get these situations in life with families, with people that I know. Not necessarily so far a shooting from a school, but situations that have occurred in home or at work. And so you don't know what to say to them in such a moment. That moment, no matter how much knowledge you have, you just have to simply be loving and kind and compassionate and understanding and just be. In that moment, you cannot say, na jayate, mriyate, va kadachit, na ayam bhutva, na bhavita, na bhuya. This is from the second chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that nothing is born, nothing dies. It was not, it is not. That individual does not want any teaching. And no matter how spiritual they are, that moment is a moment. And so, if I am steeped in dharma, and steeped, I don't have with me today, I often bring, and Divya laughs at me, a bowl and a sponge, right? A bowl filled with water and a sponge filled with water. And I said, you squeeze it any which way, there will be water. Soapy water, plain water, whatever, water. And that's how we are too. We are a sponge. No matter what our age, and we are absorbing. So Baba Muktananda was very clear in this. Company, bad, good. Good, bad. What is the company you keep? Here, in your own head. Do you want to watch soap operas? And the sad part is that soap operas depict a certain way of life, and when it goes out of this country to other countries, and those people have no idea that this is not the way people in the United States live. This is just I don't even know why they call it soap opera, but I never asked anybody. Because I always think of soap as something what you use to clean your body with, but maybe, I don't know. Oh. बरोबर आहे ना हो सांगायचं मध्ये मध्ये He's nodding his head, so I know he's understanding and arguing along with me. Larry, I forgot to look this way. You're too far over there. No, because it's a subject that I think that should be considered by each and every one of us who walks the path, who's living life. And it's not that you can say, okay, this morning when I wake up, I will be doing dharma. And then I'll get in my car and go to work, and then I will be doing adharma. In the morning, like Lavarji does his sandhya and his puja and part and everything, he say, okay, I did my karma and now I'll do vikarma. No, he can't. He has to, throughout the day, each one of us has to, throughout the day, remind ourselves, Yeda ban ke peda mat kha. Don't fool yourself and don't fool others. If you think you are smart, the person supposedly not so smart is just as smart. Somebody asked the question, what is the method by which people can fulfill the best version of themselves? What is the method by which people can fulfill the best version of themselves? Because when you talk about dharma, you cannot say, this is dharma. Each situation has its permutation and combination, and according to that, if you are again steeped in it, if you are fully versed in it, you know exactly what is the action, the karma that needs to be taken. Not a karma, not vikarma, but karma. In line with dharma. So, we must understand each one of us has a nature, swabhava. Sugar has its nature, Tabasco has its nature, lemon has its nature, salt has its nature, chili has its nature. So I often say, which one of this would you like to be? Sweet, salty, spicy, bitter. Ayurveda has 6 tastes. Shadavasa. So, in each of these qualities, swabhavas, is what makes us, what I say, peculiar and special. So each one of us has a peculiarity. Each one of us has a speciality. Speciality हिंदी में विशेषता, peculiarity क्या हो गया? I forget my विचित्र, हाँ. बरोबर आठवण है तुम्हाला. Because these words I remember quite a few years ago. I think Godavari is part of this. We discussed this in Satsang. I think maybe the whole Satsang was on being peculiar and special. And I always say one thing, never allow your peculiarity, which I think is wonderful, to be an obstacle in your life. Because some people use it, and I see that. They use their peculiarity to their advantage. Again, by saying I'm confused, was confused, is confused. No, don't do that. It makes you who you are. And again, this is not so easy to understand, but because I am in what I call the people business, and the way to understand this is go to the mall. I don't know how the malls are today, but the days I talk about is when the malls were full. And you could be by the door, and the way the people opened and closed the door, because there is the handicap door, there is the revolving door, there is the regular door which you push and pull. And it's just amazing to watch. Some people, you would think that they've never been to a mall. They've never pushed that button. They've never opened a handicap door. They've never been in that circling or circular door, or they've never just pulled or pushed a door. They don't know what to do when somebody else is coming to the door. Should I speed up and beat them? Should I slow? It's funny. It's the same on the freeway. You know somebody's coming to merge on to your lane. And all you have to do is just let off the gas and let them merge in. And they have their light on. And there's just that teeny bit of space. And you're like, nah. You don't even look that way. You're looking the other way because it's like 30 seconds is all. A moment of dharma, of offering, of giving. Devani said the other day when we drove too long, and sometimes you know when you want to take, and sometimes you know when you want to give. You know that space. Correct? That's how you said it? Something like that. She'll explain further in her announcements. When to give, when to take. So, what a sage wants is you to be your best. What we also want, we meaning the individual himself, herself, is that when someone looks at us, a natural smile comes on their face. It's not true always, because some people are very vichitra, very peculiar, And it's not just peculiar in their nature, but peculiar in their energy. Now, this is again, someday I will talk about this because I'm trying to become clear in my own mind on how to express this. Because I know it, I experience it, I understand it, and those peculiar energy people, it's like you go, oh my God, you want to take a shower after you be with them. But I know that they could bring about a shift, a change. Because where does that come from? It comes from Manaiva Manushyanam Karanam Bandhamokshayo. The mind is the cause of bondage, the mind is the cause of liberation. So where is my mind? How have I placed my mind? What have I done with my mind in all of this? Did you write everything or do we have more? Because she told me everything can be written at one time, so. I have it here. Which one? This okay. That's the end. Yeah. Okay. We'll wait. You can write all this. So she's going to go to the end of the talk. I guess I didn't give her the middle of the stuff. So anyway. So in all of this, what we want to create is a strong community, which the United States today, I would say, needs a very strong dharma, a very strong motivation. I still tell people it's one of the best countries in the world if you want to just live a middle-class life, never break the law. But there are issues that need to be discussed, and not in a feisty way, not angry. Somebody was very good the other day in Long Island, a Jamaican state trooper, retired, said, it's not that we need to fight, we need to sit down and talk. We need to sit down and talk of what is it that we like, what is it that we don't like, what is it that needs to change, what is the change that needs to take place, and create strong communities on the pillars of strong families, high character individuals who are the best version of themselves with a natural ability to serve others. And this all exists in all communities, in all societies, all over the world. Dharma, karma doesn't just belong to India. Okay, it's a word that's come out of India, but it has been followed in my early days of travel, the late 70s, early 80s, up to the 90s. I experienced this everywhere. I still experience this. Of course, I don't travel like I used to travel, but I feel that this still exists, but there's such a cloud of adharma, a cloud of vikarma, a cloud of confusion, that sometimes then our peculiar individual wants to pick up the AK-47, if I'm correct, right? And go, we in that moment, it needs a great shloka from the Gita. It says, Atma Sanyama Indriya. Just a little part of the verse is self-control. Control yourself. Don't just allow yourself to react. And the Gita says, Shreyan swadharmo virgunaha paradharmat swanustitat swadharme nidanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaya. It is best to do what comes naturally to you. Swadharme nidanam shreya. What is natural to me? What is real to me? What can I do? Don't try to be someone else. Don't try, what is somebody else's karma or dharma. And even a little bit, Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato vayat. That even a little bit that you can do, that you know is right, is correct, We were in Newburgh the other day. I don't know who was with us, Divani was. And there was a can of soda that somebody had thrown out of their car, and many cars had driven over it. So when we parked and got out, I picked it up and threw it in the trash. And I knew that anybody who would see me, even my own people, would probably laugh at me and say, "Why do you want to do this?" I just think, okay, one little incorrect thing that could be corrected. And I've seen elder people, again in the early days, in the 80s, standing with a bag at the bus stop, near the bus stop, and I would know that they have picked up trash along the way. This is how society is and should be and must be taken care of. But today we think, why? Why me? So selfish have we become. I think second mantra of the Ishavasa is Kurvanneya Karmani, second, isn't it? Kurvanneveha Karmani Jiji Vishet Shatam Samaha Evam Toi Nanyate Toasti Nakarma Lipyate Naraha. This is a verse I was trying to say to Devyani the other day. Swamiji and she were having a conversation about something. Kurvanneha karmani jiji vishet shatam samaha. Wish to live for 100 years. Doing karma in this world. Karma करते हुए 100 वर्ष जीने की इच्छा करो इस पृथ्वी पर. Because this is how it is. This is how it should be. That we are thinking of living in this world, performing karma, performing the right action, performing the ethical action or duty, and get there. Very recently I read, a father used to say to his children when they were young, "When you reach the age of 12, I will tell you the secret of life." When you reach the age of 12, I'll tell you the secret of life. So the eldest reaches the age of 12 and he says, "Okay, father, I'm 12. He said, "Okay, I will tell you the secret, but don't tell it to your brothers." Because in the early days, we used to have 6 brothers, or 9, 6 and 3, or 3 and 6, however it went, some brothers and some sisters. And that's one of the topics we'll discuss someday, not now. Good people need to have more kids. First of all, good people need to stay together, and that's number one. Work out the issues, because otherwise the world is being populated, but populated by adharmic, akarmic, vikarmic. That's a whole verse in the Gita. So anyway, the secret of life, the boy said, "Okay, Dad, tell me." He says, "Okay, don't tell it to your brothers, I'll tell it to you. The cow does not give milk. You have to milk it." I'd never read this before. And we always say, "Gai doodh deti hai." The cow gives milk. And the father says, "No, you have to milk it. Get up at 4 a.m. because that's when the cow is milked in the morning, 4:35. Otherwise you hear this wah, 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 from the baby and the mother, because the mother wants to give and the baby wants to drink. So he says, you get up at 4, go to the field, walk through the corral full of manure, tie the tail, hobble the legs of the cow, sit on the stool, place the bucket, and do the work yourself. Now we have this in Magot, so therefore I could totally relate to this because early morning it's full of cow dung from the whole night. It's full of cow urine, and there you are. You have to clean, and you have to clean the cow. You have to wash the udder. Of course, it's all in the corporate world today mechanized. This is not the way, I would say. If some of you have issues with milk, I would say one of the issues is exactly this. Don't come back to me afterwards, okay, and say, can you please explain? It's all there on Google. Because sometimes people come and and then when he says to me, don't sweat the small stuff. I'm like, yeah, but don't they get it that they don't need to bother with me with this little nonsense? It's just that they don't want to understand. They want to remain in the tamas and the rajas. They never want to come to the unflavored sattva. Simple as that is what I have decided. They don't want to become nirguna. And I don't mean nirguna who died, but nirguna meaning free of all of this. They want to remain here. And then they want to take you from your place. Look at how just naturally happened that the sattva bottle is a little bit higher than the other. This madhu is chinnoto here. It's a digestive drink. Where was I? So this secret of life, the cow does not milk. You milk her or you don't get milk. So the father says there is this generation that thinks that cows give milk, that things are automatic and free. So their mentality is, if I wish, I ask, I obtain. Effort. So he says, they have become accustomed to getting whatever they want the easy way. Life is not a matter of wishing, asking, and obtaining. The things that one receives are the effort of what one does. Happiness or joy is the result of effort. Lack of effort creates frustration. Lack of effort creates frustration. So the society that we have created now, maybe it's for this society that he, she, whoever it is, has written this, that we have gotten accustomed to whatever they want the easy way. Somewhere in the Indian, I don't know where, YouTube or WhatsApp or there's a girl who walks onto an airplane, and a father and son are seated next to each other, aisle and center seat. And the father says, daughter, can you go sit on my seat? And she says, okay. And so she goes, she sees that there are two big men and the middle seat. She comes back and she says, no, I want my seat. And the father looks at her and says, what kind of children are today? Not even listening to an elder, not even respecting an elder. And she said, if your son and you wanted to sit together, just like I booked this seat for myself beforehand, your good son could have booked 2 seats for you together beforehand. It is not that I don't want to sit there, but there are 2 big men in between whom I will be squished. And I don't want to do that, and I have chosen this aisle seat beforehand. So you should now tell your son the next time you travel. And I thought it was a good message. Tell your son to pre-book the seat that the 2 of you would like. Because many people, around Baba Muktananda, we would hear, whatever the Shakti wants. And I would be like, oh God. And I still, when I hear this, that it's whatever the Shakti wants, I'm like, I want to tell them. Sometimes they're elder to me, so I can't. But if they're younger to me, I tell them, okay, sit down, let me talk to you about this nonsense. It's the same thing here. That you have gotten into this, accustomed to whatever you want. And then blame it on the Shakti. Blame it on the Guru. Blame it on Baba. Like in the early days of Magod, many people who would come, they say, I decided to come, I didn't get a seat, I just prayed to Baba. Baba, get me a seat. And I said, please don't trouble Baba like this. You know that at this time of the year, these particular times, we have certain programs. Book a ticket. Get a seat. A bed, whatever it is, sleeper. And if you don't want, you cancel at the last minute and you lose a few rupees. But why trouble Baba for your last minute indecision? Not decision, indecision, and not getting a ticket. We know in India that we cannot get train tickets at the last minute. They're booked 4 months in advance. Even Tatkal you cannot get unless you pay the agent, because the agent has his system, his way. Till 9:55 you can get on the website, 9:56 you cannot get on the website, 10:30 you can get on the website, but by then all Tatkal tickets are gone. And I speak this from experience. Because you think, we thought one day we were smart. We sat with 2 laptops because we wanted 6 tickets. Not me, ourselves, but somebody. And we thought, 3 on 1, and we'll get it. And we were on. By 9:56, we were off. And we didn't get back on till 10:30, and by then, 0. So somebody said, "Arey, agent ko bol dene ka." Just tell the agent. I said, now I know that. You learn sometimes, So, cows don't give milk. So this is from the Yoga Vasishtha. This is my ending. Yasmin sarvam yataha, sarvam yat sarvam sarvatascha yat, brahma tasmin mahabhaga, kimna sambhavati iha. Yasmin sarvam. If you think of the beginning of the Ishavasya, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Yat kinchat jagatyam jagat. So, in whom is everything, from whom is everything, who is everything, who is everywhere. So, if we begin to understand the dharma, and operate from this, then your dharma, your conduct, your duty, your behavior, your speech, your thought, everything will be just right. Why? Because you'll remember that divinity, that consciousness, that truth is everything. Is everything. Is everything. Is everywhere. Because there, not for a moment will you forget. Not for a moment will you forget that truth, that consciousness, that divinity. So that whole concept of yeda ban ke peda kha will slowly go away. You will not, the whole behavior of fooling others, of lying to others, or whatever it is that we do. And this goes back to what Dana ended with, Hechi dana dega deva tuza visadana vava. This is the blessing. This is the gift. Oh Lord, I ask from you that I never forget this. And then your karma will be right. Your akarma will be right. Your, what is the third one? Vikarma will be right. And in that talk of mine, which I gave some years ago, it says, you either get bitter or you get better. You either get bitter or you get better. It's that simple. You either take what has been dealt to you and allow it to make you a better person. Take what has been dealt to you and allow it to make you a better person, or you allow it to tear you down. The choice does not belong to fate, it belongs to you. So each moment, every time that you're ready. Don't act confused. Don't become confused. Don't go to duality. Remember this, yat sarvam yataha, yasmin sarvam yataha sarvam, yah sarvam sarvataha chauya. And so, the choice belongs to you. So every time you think it's Baba, every time you think it's the Shakti, every time you think it's karma, it's good fortune, bad fortune, realize first, it's you. And soon as you come to that realization and that understanding that I have to take responsibility for my dharma and for my karma. I am responsible for what I do, what I say, and because, again, like I said, being in the people business, being with people since 1978, not even 16 yet. And of course, even before that, but I don't count the years before that because I was officially not a part of the ashram. I was living my life with my parents, going to school, etc., etc. But all of a sudden, in April 1978, I became a part of the ashram, and that's when I met Larry. He was running the course, and many of the other people, and they kind of got to know me because now I was part of the group. So now you had to behave. Now you could not be confused. Yeda ban ke peda kha was finished. It was never there in my life because Baba was an integral part of life. But now all of a sudden you have all these Babas. And we had about 1,000 of them at that time. And I always tell people, some people would love to just catch you doing the wrong thing and go and tell Baba, isko kidhar dekha? And then Baba would call you the next day and say, what were you doing there yesterday? And you know exactly who reported you. And you know exactly what you were doing. And there was no correction of course or no explanation because you knew it was wrong. Akarma, vikarma. You knew it was adharma. So you just stood there, and if he forgave you, he forgave you. If he punished you, he punished you. He said something, and you just remember the next time that not to do it. It takes time. I think nothing happens before 40. Till then you are tarunastavat taruni raktaha. You're like young and I don't know, vivacious is the right word, but it's like, but then at 40, I think, you lose a few hairs, the teeth start to hurt a little bit, the body's not quite, etc., and so you start to become wiser. I think, I don't know. Because I remember my life changed at 20, my life changed at 23, I still remember my 30th birthday. I think I remember my 40th. I remember my 50th. I remember my 60th. So these are all milestones in life. And I'm sure much happened in between too. But remember these shifts that took place. And remember the shifts that took place within, the shifts that took place outside. And some choices are difficult, but you know that those have to be made. So, that's all for today. If I've cleared your confusion, thank God. If you're confused, go to God. Don't come to me. So, huh? So. Dhanya dhanya ho pradakshina Satguru Rayachi Sali Kara Suravara
विमानोत्तरायाचि
धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली त्वरा सुरवरा विमानोत्तरायाची
परोपरी अपार जाऊया पुण्याचाराशी
पदोपदी अपार झाल्या पुण्याच्या राशी
परोपरी अपार जाऊया पुण्याचाराशी
पदोपदी अपार झाल्या पुण्याच्या राशी
सावाई तीर्थे गजले आहारी कर्णिकाशी धन्य धन्य प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली परसुरवर विमानोत्तरायाची
धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची
मृदंग थाल गोल भक्त मावर्ते गाठी
मृदंग ताल ढोल भक्त भावाते गाती
मृदंग थाल गोल भक्त मावर्ते गाठी
मृदंग ताल ढोल भक्त भावाते गाती
नाम संकीर्तने ब्रह्मानंदे नाचते धन्य धन्य प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली परसुरवर विमानोत्तरायाची
धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली परसुरवरा विमानोत्तरायाची
होती ब्रह्मा हत्या रीतिकारिता दंडवथा
कोटी ब्रह्मा हत्या हरिते कविता दंडवत
कोटी ब्रह्मा हत्या रीतिकारिता दंडवथा
कोटी ब्रह्मा हत्या हरिते कविता दंडवत
लोटंगन गालिता मोक्ष लोले खाया धन्य धन्य प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली परसुरवर विमानोत्तरायाची गुरुवचनाचा महिमा नकले आगमा निगमासी
गुरुवचनाचा महिमा नकल आगमा निगमासी
गुरुवचनाचा महिमा नकले आगमा निगमासी
गुरुवचनाचा महिमा नकल आगमा निगमासी
अनुभव से जानत जे गुरु परिचय रायवासी धन्य धन्य प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाली परसुरवर विमानोत्तरायाची
धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची परसुरवरा
प्रदक्षिणा करुणी देहा भावे वाहिला
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 श्रीरंग मग विठ्ठल पुढे उभा राहिला
धन्य
धन्य प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची परसुरवर विमानोत्तरायाची
धन्य धन्य प्रदक्षिणा
जगावो सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो मेरा अंधार दिन मेरा मिटावो सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो हे योगेश्वर हे ज्ञानेश्वर हे योगेश्वर हे ज्ञानेश्वर हे सर्वेश्वर हे परमेश्वर हे सर्वेश्वर हे परमेश्वर निज कृपा बरसावो सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो मेरा अंधार दिन मेरा मिटावो सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो हम बालक तेरे द्वार पे आए हम बालक तेरे द्वार पे आए मंगल दरस दिखाओ सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो मेरा अंधार दिन मेरा मिटावो सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो शीश झुकाया करें तेरी आरती अंधार में युग युग से सोए अंधार में युग युग से सोए
चिट्ठी
शक्ति
मेरा
साची ज्योत जगे हृदय में साची ज्योत जगे हृदय में तो अमनार जगावो सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो मेरा अंधार दिन मेरा मिटावो सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो जीवन मुक्त नंदा विनाशी जीवन मुक्त नंदा विनाशी शरणन शरण लगाओ सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो मेरा अंधार दिन मेरा त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव
त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा
त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव
दुरकरो दुःखदर्द सब दया करो भगवान
मन मंदिर में
उज्ज्वल हो तेरा
निर्मल ज्ञान
जिस घर में हो आरती
चरण कमल चितलार छान हरि वासा करे diya apane benta karunyana namaskar ki benta karun jod mein dono haath namaskar ki benta karun jod mein dono haath Om Purnamada Purnamiram Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Sadguru Nath Maharaj ki jai. So this concludes our Sunday morning satsang. Thank you all for joining us here today, both in person and via live stream. Coming up next weekend on Saturday, which is September 28th, we'll be having the Shraddh ceremony performed here by Anantalavarji Shastriji Maharaj. So that will be at 11 o'clock a.m. till 12 o'clock noon. So the Shraddh ceremony is the one that is performed for the honoring of the ancestors. So if somebody has someone who has passed away, the deceased, you can either bring a photograph of that person printed, and there'll be a platform here or patla, a stage here where we'll be putting all those photographs together, or you can also provide the list of the names of the people that you wish to have honored. There is a registration amount for that. It is $25 per person, and you can do that in the office with Niteshwari. If you're planning to do one or two people, it's $25. If you're planning to go above two and to whatever unlimited number, because we're getting some people who are writing in and saying a list of 8 or 10 people, it's $51. Also, anyone who wishes to offer prasad, one of the things with the Shraddh is that usually people feed people. So if you want to make any type of a donation towards any of the ashrams in India, at the school, at the Magod ashram, or in Haridwar for the students there, in Kankal, or at Ganeshpuri for the villagers, you're welcome to do that. That is all that information is at the office, and you can see Niteshwari for that. My request to everybody is if you plan on participating in this ceremony, please do your registrations in advance, because that lets us know the magnitude of what we have to make our setup here and the supplies and all the things that go along with it, so that it can all be done very nicely. That's 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock noon on Saturday, September 28th, followed by lunch prasad for everyone. Then the following week, October 3rd to the 12th, we begin our installation ceremony of the Devi here. So the lobby will be converted to our Navaratra celebration, honoring of the Devi and all her many forms. And that starts on October 3rd with the installation ceremony. Most of you should have already been receiving the Navaratra invite. If you have not received it, please let the office know so they can make sure that you are on our WhatsApp group, as well as the Shanti Mandir email list. When we get through when we get through Navaratra, then we move on to our Sattvic cooking classes. So just a reminder to everybody, that's October 15th, 16th, and 17th. So we'll have our morning classes. This year we're going to have quite a variety of items, something different from what we've done before. In our last Sattvic cooking class last year, everybody requested, we want to know all the snacks, all the snacks. So usually we do all the dals, we do all the rices, we do all the idli sambar, South Indian. This time it's going to be all the snacks. So like ragada pattis and all those fun things that we all love very much. So that's going to be the focus, along with our variety of ice creams by Ingrid. So some new flavors, fig and pistachio and many more. So please join us for that. And then Baba's full moon is on October 17th, and we'll be honoring his passing as we do each year with an intensive on October 19th, with Gurudev. So please make sure to register for any or all of those programs at your earliest convenience. And with that, everybody is invited to come up for darshan, followed by lunch prasad. And today's lunch prasad is offered by Umesh and all of his parivar. We have a cabbage salad. We have a fansi, which is green beans in a South Indian style with coconut. And we also have papad pulao and aloo rasa. So everybody enjoy. Thank you all again for your presence here. Sadgurunad Maharaj Ki Jai.